Hey, it is Chris Jenkins and Lauren. Man, I feel on the spot every time it's time to say your name. Don't say it. Reese. Chris Jenkins and Lauren Reese with your Carolina Panthers post-game show. Final score in the season-ending Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay. Carolina 17. Tweeted it wrong, Lauren. They got on me. I'm sorry. I don't know how in the world I tweeted it wrong because I tweeted the right score right before then. But Carolina 17. Tampa Bay, man, I don't remember. 41, I believe it was.
I don't even want to remember what the score was.
Yeah, 17 to 41. So Lauren and I are here to be your shoulder to lean on, your shoulder to cry on, your shoulder to vent to. We're going to go over some thoughts about this game post game. But hey, before I do that, I am going to share some stats with you. We're going to go over a few stats about this game with some takeaways from it. And we're going to start on the offensive side. Sam Darnold today. Hey, I think Sam Darnold, in my opinion, he did not play a bad game. To
I
me,
don't
he
think he
actually
did
played a
either.
good game. I mean,
I agree.
he played a good game, and to me, he looked like he was. I didn't get a chance to ask him. One thing that seemed like they were doing tonight, which I totally understand, is that they were clocking those interviews with the players and coaches. Like they already had to set like, "Hey, get out of here." Which, hey, I totally get because these guys have to do this week in and week out. Talk to us people after the game. Sometimes it's not so fun, especially when you lose and then you got to fly back home. But nevertheless, Sam Darnold was 29 of 42, 219 yards, two touchdowns, one interception that we're going to talk about here a little bit later, as well as two sacks. Moving on to the rushing game. Chuba Hubbard led the rushers with 9 for 48 yards. Amir Abdullah, 7 for 26. And I'm going to talk about Amir's pass catching abilities here in a second and how he may replace Christian McCaffrey. Sam Darnold, see, this is what I mean here. Sam, he had to have been ready to run today, saying, "Hey, I'm tired of getting hit. I am prepared to run." He rushed 8 times today for 19 yards. So not an impressive amount of yardage, but I think it was pretty good how he tried to save his life today and buy himself some more time. You want to take this one, Lauren? Can you
Robbie
see it?
Anderson. Excuse me. Seven. Oh, he had seven today. Seven receptions and 50 yards. But that one touchdown that everyone will be talking about until next season,
That was
it was
great.
amazing.
That was great.
It was so great. And it was a great pass by Sam, by the way. But he had 8 targets. Might I add?
We also had Amir Abdullah.
Oh,
Since
did
we
I
don't
see?
want
I
to go
thought you
over the
said
whole,
Amir. I could have swore you just said Amir.
for rushing.
Oh, my
It's
bad.
all right. You want to take it over? Or you
Well,
want
I
to go
didn't
ahead
want
and
to
finish?
say his name again, and I'm like, wait, shoot, I don't want to say. Oh no, go ahead. You're good.
It's all right. I got you. So Amir Abdullah, nine receptions, 56 yards, 11 targets. That's quite a bit of targets for a wide receiver. I'm sorry, for a running
For a
back. Man,
for,
what am I doing tonight?
running.
DJ Moore, he led with yards of 87 yards, 7 receptions, 10 targets. But yeah, two things for me from that is one, Amir with his pass catching abilities out the backfield. We don't know what's going to happen with Christian McCaffrey, but certainly it seems like now you can't really plan that Christian's always going to be there. So I like Amir Abdullah a lot to stay with this team and do some good things. And then yeah, that Robbie Anderson over the head kind of catch was pretty impressive.
That was awesome.
All right, Lauren, I'm going to give you a second chance here. Defense is all yours.
Defense, woo woo. Miles Hartsfield had 12 total. Oh, 12. Dang, I'm really shocked. I didn't realize he had that many. So this
Miles
is
is playing.
shocking to me. With
Okay.
one sack, one TFL. Sam Franklin Jr. had 6 total, and Shaq Thompson had 6 total. Oh, also Sam Franklin Jr. had one QB hit. But I do want to talk about what happened to Burns and Hassan. Neither of them got sacks when they needed them.
Hey, Burns already said a couple weeks ago when they first played Tampa that it's frustrating to play Tom, almost like it's a wasted play because you know that you're not going to get to Tom in time. Tom gets rid of the ball so quick. Has I think I saw the stat on TV tonight where he has a crazy amount of passes that's out of the pocket. I think it's like
Oh
96%.
yeah, he's
I could be wrong, but
phenomenal.
it was certainly up in the 90s. he has a good offensive line, and
Hmm.
he's so smart and controlling the game and gets that ball out of it. That's the only way he can play into his 40s, knowing to get rid of that ball and not get hit. So, unfortunately, I wouldn't put that on Burns
No,
or
I'm just giving him a hard
Hassan.
time because this was their chance.
Yeah,
he had his chance to come back and win.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And so yeah, let's go ahead and see some of these comments really quickly, and also go through some more things. I want to go through what Coach talked about here. Anthony, I'm
Very
letting you read,
disappointing.
Lauren.
What's up, Anthony? How are you? He always tunes in. Appreciate your support. Very disappointing game, but we get the sixth pick. If Matt Rule does bad again, he should be fired. I would absolutely agree with you. It's great that we get the sixth pick, but we had the sixth pick regardless of the outcome of the game. But I do agree with you 100% in saying if in his third year, let's see, fingers crossed, third time's a charm. They say that. So it might be. But if he doesn't I've said this multiple times, but if he doesn't show proven success throughout the first few games of the season, that's what's about to happen. So
I'm gonna
I'm
give.
hoping though, I'm hopeful as if I mean we're giving him a chance, he's gonna come back from what we know now. He is getting his third season, so I don't want to be a negative Nancy and be like, I hope he doesn't succeed because I do hope he succeeds. Like he is a good person. And I do believe that he wants this team to succeed. Like no other head coach wouldn't want their team to succeed. So like that's what he wants to happen. It's just gonna take some time. And I do believe, I mean, like, just think about this. Like without an offensive line, how can any quarterback flourish? They can't. And so I feel like if we get this offensive line figured out in this offseason, pick up some weapons that we could potentially, use to help our quarterback. And I'm not saying Sam Darnold's our guy, but if we do also get a quarterback in this offseason that is a big name person that may be able to take Sam's place, we might be in a pretty good position next year because our defense is pretty solid and everyone
Yeah,
knows that. I mean, they don't get me wrong, they had their times this season where they didn't do so great, but we have a lot of great players on defense.
and
So,
young,
what'd you say?
and young players,
Oh,
young
and
players.
young, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we get this offensive line figured out, I feel like we're going to start winning games and the quarterback situation. And then maybe Matt Rule will still be here. And then nobody,
Maybe.
maybe half of the fan base will no longer hate him.
I got one more for you to read.
The Bucks sent us home. What's up, Ollie? The Bucks sent us home for the season with a beat down package.
Hey, KPM, I don't know where he was watching from. He said the game was blacked out and he was stuck watching the Rams
Oh,
49ers.
if you're ever in the location that's not in North Carolina or South Carolina, you never get the Panthers games. It's so annoying.
But hey, they actually had the coverage map, and it was a lot of people, more than usual, because the late game wasn't a whole lot of late games. Most were early. It was actually quite more than usual. So that's why I'm really curious. KPM, where are you that you didn't get to see the
I don't know.
game?
My mom didn't get it, and she was in Indiana, and like you would think that Tampa and Charlotte are a lot closer to her, and she got the what game did she get? She got the Miami game. I'm like, why? Like,
Yeah,
why would they get the Miami game there? Like, she doesn't get any Carolina Panthers games ever. It doesn't matter, even if they play like teams that are close to them. I mean, unless they
yeah.
played the Colts, but that didn't happen, obviously. So.
All right, got some more comments coming. Hey, please keep them coming. I want to go over the people that we got a chance to talk to today in the press conference post game. Matt Rule, what about that 4th and 1? Actually, I don't know if it was 4th and 1, but it was near the
Fourth
goal
and
line.
something.
Was it fourth? Because we went for so many today, I kind of forget. But basically, it was short yardage. And earlier in the game, Cam had come out, which was surprising to me
For
when that Cam came out. But anyway, it was short inches, and he left Sam in there to get it, and Sam did not get it. And he said that because it was inches, Sam's a big guy. He is. He's not huge like Cam, but Sam's still a big guy. He felt like he could leave his quarterback in there and push it in, and they didn't. But said certainly if it was like a yard or something where you knew you were going to do this quarterback power, that he would have put Cam in there. Just reporting what the guy said. I don't know if I have any comment on that. Lots of discussion that Lauren and I had before the game about David Tepper, is he going to keep Rule back? And then there was another report from, I forget the guy's name at Fox, that said, hey, not so fast, only if you get to superstar. Well, Coach Rule did let us know that today he talked to Tepper and they talked about the season and the future, what they were going to do. So it still seems like there's very, very strong indications that he is going to be back for a year 3. I asked Coach about the aggressiveness that they did in that first quarter with going for all those fourth downs that they went for very early on in the game. I wanted to ask some more questions, but again, they were keeping it short. He said that they felt like they had some plays where they can get it. I feel like he was, and I'm not criticizing him for it, but I feel like he was trying to end the season by going in the bag and just trying to do everything that he can to get some momentum going, to get some confidence going, to get some enthusiasm going for the team. And I actually liked it because they got the first one and they kept going. And he didn't do it so much in the second half. I know there were a time or two that I think he did, but why not do that the entire game? In terms of going forward, if it was close. Now it's 4th and 7, 4th and 10. I'm not so big on going for those, but the ones I'd say 5 yards and less, get near midfield, I would not be against that. And that timeout that he called in the first quarter, it was a timeout, and it seemed like the clock was going to run out anyway. Why call the timeout? Coach said he thought that he had 2 guys in motion, and that he called the timeout because he didn't want to get a penalty. I don't know. I don't think Sam was going to snap the ball, but again, I like to let you know what I was thinking and let you know what the coach says so that you guys can have your own opinions about those things. Was there anything else? In terms of talking about the future, how he wants his team to be, he says he definitely wants his team to be one that has an identity and the ability to run the ball, also have the ability to protect the quarterback, and just spoke about his offensive coordinator search that he has coming up. He's going to look everywhere. He said there's a lot of smart people out there. He's going to look internally. He's going to look externally. And they know what their strategy wants, that he wants the strategy to be. They just got to find the right person to help him with the strategy. And I know pregame we talked about, someone made the comment, I think it was Omar Tillman. I might have got that name exactly correct. If I did, give me a like if you haven't already, because I remembered his name. But he talked about Rule having to hire a guy that's smarter than him to succeed. And this, I like the way that Rule said that. They have the strategy. They just need the tactics. And he needs someone to help him with that, a good offensive coordinator to do that. So that is the summary of talking with Coach Matt Rule today. Sam Darnold had a chance to talk. Again, these press conferences were short, and I like to summarize them anyway. Basically, Sam said, hey, I'm not willing to talk about my future right now. I just got through playing a game. And so Sam's not willing to comment yet on his future. My man, Robbie Anderson, did speak to us as well. And that interception, that last interception that Sam threw, one disadvantage of watching from the house is I can't see everything all at once. Tony Romo said, hey, I think he might have cut that route flat instead of going in a little bit. So Robbie was asked about that interception and said that with all his knowledge of playing football and a post is called, you run it the way that he was running it. You don't look back for about 3 steps after you make your cut, and you're going kind of toward the post. He said that he didn't practice all week, Lauren. He was trying to get himself, because he was on a DNP list all week. And he said, I don't know if he said perhaps, but he said that route may have been run differently in practice this week, which he didn't know about because he wasn't practicing. And regardless of if he tried to or if he didn't, I think it's safe to say that interception by Sam does not appear to be 100% on Sam. Even if it was a miscommunication, that's not a 100% kind of deal where you can say, Sam, what on earth are you doing? So you take that interception away, and you say Sam had a good game. Even if you don't take that interception away, we showed the stats. I'm gonna show it one more time. Sam Darnold, 29 of 42, 219 yards, 2 TDs. We don't have his QBR up there, but his QBR was near 100. His QBR was actually, it dropped towards the end, unfortunately, down to 87.3. But I know most of the game it was much higher than that. So those are your comments from the players and coaches that we had a chance to talk to. Hey, let me know. I always say it. I work for you. I love what I do. I love working for you. So there's questions that you have. Not exactly sure what the format will be for talking to players and coaches tomorrow. Normally, it's open locker room. We go in there. We have about 45 minutes to talk to whomever that we want to and get information. But tomorrow, I don't know because we're seeming to be virtual, closing out the season with everything being virtual. But let me know your questions for the player, for the coach, and I will most certainly do my best to get those answered for you. Lauren, you want to help me look at a few comments here? I'll throw them up, and you can just read them from the screen so I don't catch you off guard. Give me a second. Here you go.
I'm afraid to vent. I have months of frustration built up for one outburst. KPM. I feel like a lot of people are in that position, KPM. You're fine. Seb QX says Bryce Young or CJ Stroud in 2023 if Matt Rule is here in 2023. Not winning more than 4 games with this clown. I would have to disagree with you on that. I feel like next season is going to be different.
What about this one?
But that our frustration doesn't matter. I mean, to some point, to some extent, it does because everyone, like the GM, the owner, the head coach, like all of them hear about what's going on. Like they hear about the fans going to the Hornets game and wearing shirts that say fire Matt Rule. Like they hear about all the noise on social media, whether it's they're checking it, they hear it from somebody else. So they know how frustrated the fan base is. Like that's evident. Of course, no one's going to be happy when when your team is losing. Like no fan base is going to be happy about that. So I would say our frustration does matter because it's heard. And if people continue to complain and express their frustrations, they will continue to be on their toes, making sure everything goes the way that it's supposed to go. Hence,
Yeah, I agree. I'm
the
sorry.
way
Go ahead.
next season will probably go if Matt Rule isn't successful.
Yeah, certainly fans, I hope you don't expect, like, if you're pissed off and mad that somebody's going to hear it and immediately make a change. Like, this is
Not how it
this is
works.
their guys' jobs day in, endless hours, and they're much smarter than we are, even though
Yes.
they make mistakes. I mean, that's
Yes.
their job. They put in so many hours to
Yep.
do it. If they made changes every time fans were upset, man, I mean, it'd be the roller coaster like no other. We'd probably
Yeah.
be playing with guys well past their prime because, like, don't let go of this guy. We love him, and so. But it does help because it may shorten their rope, their tolerance, saying, hey, we got only a few more games that we could do this before we got to make a change. I got to keep the fan base. So very good points there, Miss Lauren. Very good points. Let's see here. All right, hold on, Lauren. I'm going to give you another one here.
KPM, let's talk about Robbie's TD because the final score never matters.
All right,
Moral victory.
I'll go ahead and take
Shockhead is so angry against Coach Roll. I
Hey,
have an idea. Fire Roll and hire him to join Charlotte Vibe to cover the Panthers with Chris and Lauren.
Shockhead,
I
just
know you're upset with Coach Rule, but like Chris said, they are so much smarter than we all give them credit for. I mean, I give them tons of credit. I give anybody that coaches, plays, is a part of the staff that's in the league. Like they work countless hours. They put in the time to get to where they're at. So as much as you want to complain about a coach and like you have every right to be frustrated, but he's not like the worst coach in the NFL like ever has the NFL has ever seen. Like he is not some awful, terrible human being. Like, yes, he has not been successful. That's frustrating, but I don't think that we should just bash him away because and then let's say this. What if next season Coach Rule miraculous, like we get an offensive line, figure out the quarterback situation, and Coach Rule, turns the season around and we start winning games. How would you all feel about him then? Would you still hate on him like you did this year? Like, would you still be saying the mean things that you did this year? That's what I want to know. Because it's like, it's Robbie made the perfect point that day in his press conference from his apartment when he said something like, True fans will like ride with their team, like regardless of the outcome. Like you will support them through anything. And he had mentioned that when I think Sam threw an interception or he did something wrong. I can't remember specifically that game, and everyone started booing him. But then 2 plays
They booed
later,
him as soon as he came out.
oh yeah,
Before
yeah,
he'd even
that's what
done
it was.
anything.
That's what they booed him as soon as he came out, and then like the first play of the game, he has this amazing throw, and everyone's cheering for him. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say you're a fan of a team, and I agree with Robbie on this. You can't say you're a fan of the team if you constantly bash them when they're doing bad. And I understand. Like I'll say it a million times. You can be frustrated, but don't. I personally don't think. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, but I personally don't think you should just bash and bash and bash people of your organization, because at the end of the day, they are a part of your organization right now. And until they are no longer a part of your organization, you should still be rooting for them to succeed. You know, that's just my opinion though. But you can hate on them, you can feel the way you want to feel, but that's how I feel, and I wouldn't personally do that ever. And that's why I try to keep it, pretty level headed. And I think of it from like a business standpoint and try to understand like where they're coming from when they make the decisions that they make. So
Did anybody notice how much Carolina Panthers gear that Lauren has? She had on a different shirt pregame, and now postgame she has on another one. And me, I just have to continue to go with the red polo. Maybe
I
one
mean,
day
I'm
I'll
kind
have
of
some
lucky. I get endless Carolina Panther stuff, so I just got to rock it all the time, regardless of what our outcome is of the game. So
Send a few pieces over to Shaqued. Maybe that might calm him down a little bit.
I'll send you something over, Shuckhead.
Richard Elmore, you think we get a new line coach and defensive line coach?
I
Man,
think we'll get a new O-line coach,
okay.
not D-line.
All right. And that is why it's 2 people on this show, because I didn't have a comment. Thank you, Lauren. Let's see here.
Lauren, he
I
doesn't
got this
deserve
one.
a third chance. Last year, when you were in Charlotte, this team was 5-11. They were supposed to be 8-10 win team, not 5-12. Yes, you are correct in that. However, how can you
Gonna let
have
you two fight
a
all night.
successful team with an O-line that has performed the way they performed this year? I truly want to know your answer. Like, I'm really asking whoever would like to answer this question. Please tell me how a quarterback can ever be successful without a strong O-line, or how a team can be successful as a whole without a strong offensive line. The defense can do their job and stop the other team from scoring, but the offensive side, we need to be moving the ball down the field. We need to be scoring more. Like we just we need to give the quarterback more time in the pocket to throw the ball. It's just like, it's so frustrating to me, because it's like, I understand, yes, we should be winning, but how are you going to win with an offensive line? Like I could go on and on about the offensive line, but you can't have Tampa Bay has a strong team. Why? Because they have a strong offense and a strong defense. They also have great coaches, yes, but the players that are playing on the offense and the defense play a huge role in that. It doesn't all fall on the coaches. So with that being said, if we did have a stronger O-line, I truly believe that this team would not have been 5-12. Mic drop.
5-12, man, that sounds crazy.
It does, but mic
sounds-
drop.
I'm going to give Lauren a chance to breathe.
Yes,
I'm certainly
please.
going to let you
Let me
fight.
get a drink of water.
Hey, there you go. I'm certainly going to let you continue to, you and Shaquille go at it tonight. I think it's fun. Malcolm, I guess Malcolm Smith said our season was garbage. It was. So Malcolm, let me give you something to look forward to. After today, there's going to be change. There has to be change, just because we didn't do good, and a lot of guys aren't even under contract next year. So there will be guaranteed change for this Carolina Panthers team next year. What kind of changes do we have in store? Well, let's start with the free agent list for next year. It's a long one. Here we go. Running back, Amir Abdullah. I'm not going to do this for all these guys that I put up here, but I'm going to tell you for a few. And Lauren, jump in if you want, but I want Amir back. I feel like he has to come back. He was a late season addition that I felt like, again, was a pretty good, not one-for-one replacement for Christian McCaffrey, but a replacement in the sense of a running back that can come out of the backfield and have pretty good hands. Also, would be curious to see how Chuba developed over the offseason with his hands because I know he said that he was working on that a lot this year. And he did make some progress, but still, Amir was far better than him in that regard. Safety Justin Burris, linebacker Janane Carter, safety Sean Chandler. Okay, now I'm getting sad because half these guys I did interviews with. So I don't know if they, I only get guys that are free agents next year. But anyway, Lackland Edwards, punter, he's a free agent. Wide receiver Alex Erickson, cornerback Stephon Gilmore. You got to vote for him coming back? Don't know. Maybe.
It depends on what he's willing to take as in order to come back, money wise, from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, he got to keep paying for that nice car that he has. Quarterback, I'm sorry, I already said that. Kicker Zane Gonzalez. You guys know I'm all over Zane.
I've been since day one of Zane being here.
Yeah.
I was his biggest fan. I said, this is the kicker we've been looking for the longest time in Carolina. I hope he heals and comes back, and I completely 1,000% think they're going to bring him back.
I couldn't imagine any reason why he would not come back. I mean, like, I couldn't see it being financial.
He didn't miss a kick. He did not miss a single kick. He got one. One was blocked. But he did not miss a kick.
He was, anyway, we'll keep going. We're in agreement on that. Defensive end, Marquise Haynes.
He will not be here next year.
Uh-oh. Say it again.
I just truly feel he's been with Carolina for a long time. They haven't utilized him this year. He's gotten very little playing time. I don't see him. I don't see them re-signing him with all the people that they're continuing to bring in for the defensive end position.
Another guy that I've interviewed, and I guess I'll have to be sad and cry about that.
Keith is a good guy, so I wish him the best. And I mean, maybe they will just wake up tomorrow and be like, we want to re-sign him, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Cornerback Dante Jackson, long snapper. I'm sorry, did I say it right? Cornerback Dante Jackson, long snapper J.J. Jansen, defensive tackle Daquan Jones, linebacker Frankie Louvu, cornerback Rashawn Mel. You see how long this list is?
Really long.
There will be change next season, I guarantee you. Continuing on, guard John Miller, quarterback Cam Newton, which says
you a good guy, Chris. You a good guy.
I guess this is the last time I can play this, probably, right? Maybe not. We'll see. I'm gonna milk it until I get the press release or whatever text. The Cam's gone. You know what?
You a good guy, Chris. You a good guy.
I believe it in my heart. Center Matt Paradis, outside linebacker Hassan Reddick, which tweeted something tonight, which said, hey, essentially, thank you, Carolina Panther fans. I hope I'm here, but I don't know what the future holds. Tackle Trent Scott. And now, Lauren, we're on to page 3. Page 3, that's how long this list is. Linebacker Julian Stanford. Tight end Ian Thomas. Any comments on Ian? Ian was a guy.
I don't think they'll bring him back.
Yeah, Ian to me was developing pretty well. Ooh, maybe I want to say his first year. I know it was when Greg Olsen was still here, and Ian certainly had more athleticism than Greg and speed, and he seemed like he had some potential with some hands. Like, hey, we got Greg Olsen, not exactly, but on steroids, a guy that can run. But after that season, he just kind of flattened out, in my opinion, and has some few flashes here and there. So I don't know if Ian will return for another year. Wide receiver Brandon Zylstra. And then we have a few guys with exclusive rights. Fullback Giovanni Ricci, quarterback PJ Walker, center Mike, I cannot say his last name. So exclusive rights free agents mean that we get to make them their only offer, and only if they don't accept, which technically they can't unless they just want to retire. They're going to be at the Carolina Panthers, but if we do not make those guys an offer, then they become free agents. So that is what an exclusive rights free agent is. And hopefully they gave Lauren a chance to catch her breath. We're going to go ahead and spend maybe about 10 more minutes here. Let Lauren, because she's on fire tonight. Don't be cheating looking at those comments. I'm going to put them up, and then you go from there, okay? You ready? Let's see. Boom.
Shocking.
I'll read it. Since you're answering them, I'll go ahead and toss them to you. Fair enough? We all like Rule as a person, but apparently some members of the fan base hate losing. Apparently Lauren and Chris are happy with Rule losing. Definitely not me.
Okay, first of all, if you listen to anything I said, I clearly don't like to lose. I'm the most competitive person, and I just hate losing. And if I'm supporting a team, I obviously don't want them to lose. I don't think anyone likes to lose. If someone says that they like to lose, please let me know, because I've never met a person that likes to lose in my entire life. And if they do, they must just not care about sports or any competitive things whatsoever. I'm not happy with Matt Rule's season this year, but I'm not counting him out because he's made it this far. You know, and like, if you listen, I don't know if this comment was made before or after I talked about the offensive line and the quarterback situation, but I'll say it shortly again. You can't expect a team to win if you do not have a strong offensive line. To win, you need a strong offensive line, a strong defensive line, and good coaching altogether to have a successful team. So I'll just leave it at that. Neither of us are happy with losing, and neither of us are like, woohoo, we're so glad Matt Rule took us to 5-12 this year. Like, we're not feeling that way, but we're thinking of it from the standpoint of like business wise, and like not sort of from a fan's perspective, but more of like a business decision and journalist reporter kind of standpoint.
Leonard Kowalski.
Leonard.
I haven't talked to him in a minute, I feel like. Hey, what's up, Panthers Nation? Cheers from Chico,
Oh, Chico, what's up?
California. As always, Leonard, miss you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Taylor Styles. Yeah, but losing 7 in a row, most of them not even close. We were better last year. You think we lose CMC? I don't think we lose him. I think he's going to be on the team next year, but I think the team just, exploring all options and let it get out that they're entertaining what could happen. And I tell you what, if they do get an offer, I'm sure it's going to be great. So it will be something worth considering. But I think that he'll be here next year.
I don't know about that. If he is, they'll have to reconstruct his contract because they just can't afford to pay that.
You don't think he'll be here next year? Mm-mm. What happens to him?
I mean, I just don't think they could, like, unless we reconstruct his contract, we can't afford to keep him. It just doesn't make sense.
So, like, if we don't have him, we cut him? He has guaranteed money.
I mean, yeah, but we don't have to continue to pay him the rest of his full contract. So you're still getting some money out of it. I mean, they've already committed to him. Like, they weren't expecting him to get hurt and not play, like, as many games. Like, they just weren't. So at that point, it's kind of like, we appreciate you. You're an amazing athlete, but like the liability there to me, and the money that you're paying him, it just doesn't make sense to me. And like, I'm a huge McCaffrey fan. Like I said earlier, if you watch the pregame show, I just don't think it makes sense to pay him that kind of money. And like the risk that you're taking if he hasn't played that much in the last 2 years. So I don't know, but we'll see. That I can talk about that forever. So we need to get to other people's comments.
All right. Well, I'll let you move on. We'll fight more later. Let's see. Give me a second here. Hey, Leonard says he's disappointed, but he doesn't hate Rule.
That's exactly how I feel.
Bobby Hicks, he may be smarter, but he has 3 seasons with plenty of talent with no playoff berths. He's got to go. 2 seasons.
Who's your talent on the offensive line? Answer that, please, in the comments. Aside from Taylor Moton, that we like truly know will be with us for the long haul.
I'm going to let you come back to Shaquille a little bit later.
Yes.
The red is not Carolina blue.
This isn't blue, but it's Carolina.
He's talking about my colors, man.
I know, so that's why I'm saying, like, you are in red, but at least I'm in Carolina.
So, long and short about the red, okay? I don't know if anybody cares, but I'll go ahead and tell you. When I first started Charlotte Vibe, we were basically a full-service news and entertainment resource. We covered the Hornets, we covered the Panthers, we covered social things going on, a lot of stuff. And then through time, we've just narrowed down to only being Carolina Panthers that we cover. Didn't want to do I don't have millions of dollars to do a rebranding and change my color, so we're still red. But there you go, the short and long. Let me keep going. Yes, the O-line was bad. That is on the coach, says Daniel Robinson. because Brady handpicked the players. I think that's in response to Lauren talking about the fact that the offensive line is so
Offensive, yeah.
good for Tampa Bay. Yeah, when you're I mean,
When you're Tom Brady, you can do that. Who's not going to want to come play for Tom Brady? I mean, let's be real.
Kimberly Harmon. Hey guys, I'm a Ravens fan. We are 8-9. I'm not mad at Coach Harbaugh. P.S. I'm new. Hey, Kimberly. On behalf of Lauren and I, welcome to the channel. We hope that you stay here and maybe convert you to a Carolina Panthers fans, or at least like watching us to learn about what the Carolina Panthers are up to. I appreciate it very, very much. KPM says keep Hassan, Zane, Amir, Luvu, and Gilmore. Everyone else can be replaced.
I agree with that, but you're talking Hassan needs money. Gilmore needs money. Luvu would stay for not as much as either of those two guys. So would Zane and Amir. But I would agree with you on all of those. I'm not 100% sure on. I mean, as much as I want Hassan and Gilmore to be here, they're just going to be a lot of money. We'll have to see what happens. But I would agree.
This question's for me. Can you guys do a draft live stream so I have people to vent to when we take Kenny Pickett? So let me educate you guys about what we can and what we cannot do. Because we are official credentialed members of the media, we have some different policies that we have to adhere to, or the NFL will get very mad at us. I know there's other YouTubers that do some things and they can because they're not credentialed and the NFL is not checking them. So we are not allowed to live stream during a game and talk about the game. That is against the policies of being a credentialed member, because stations and outlets pay, I don't know if it's billions, but they pay hundreds of millions of dollars for rights to talk about the game with professionals during the game. So we're not allowed to do that during the game. As far as doing the draft, I don't know if we're prohibited or not. Probably close enough, but here's what happens during the draft. Typically, and it may change with COVID again this year, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it, draft night. It's like a sleepover is what it feels like. You have all these guys, we all kind of casually report to the stadium, probably starting at around 7 o'clock that night. The team in the past will have some pizza that goes fast. So I usually don't get any, and some donuts and some things to kind of help us out for the night. And we all just essentially sit in what's like a little cafeteria. And there's TVs on. You just talk and relax, and you hope for something to change as far as the Panthers moving up. But anyway, get to the point of we stay in a cafeteria type place all night long waiting for picks. Once picks are made, then we all huddle around the table. We talk to that player that was just drafted and ask him some questions, and then we'll go into another room and we can talk to the general manager or coach at that time about what was made. So for that reason, if it's like that, typically, no, I cannot live stream because I'm at the stadium the entire night going through that process. So
I don't think we're taking Kenny Pickett either, but
well, like, shut up, we're not picking him. You don't have to explain. All right, let's see. We got a few more minutes here. I'm gonna pick a few more for you. I guess we missed some comments by Bobby Hicks. Sorry about that. Hey, we hadn't talked to this guy. Sizzle Guy, who remembers when Teddy Bridgewater got traded and criticized how the Panthers didn't practice red zone, 2-minute drills on Fridays? Fans thought he was just salty.
Oh, I didn't think he was salty at all. I knew he was speaking the truth. I thought Teddy all along was a very genuine, sincere guy. Like, I truly still believe that is who he is. And I knew he had no reason to say that. Like, he was not just making that up. He wasn't just saying it for fun. Like, but I remember. So. Yeah,
and I do think that's a bad coaching move. But I also, and I'm not just trying to make an excuse, but I'm just trying to look at the facts of what may happen. When he first comes from college, he's going to make some mistakes.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Maybe he's like, I don't think that I need to spend all this time on something. And it could have been a bad mistake, but it happens. And I'm not saying just excuse them all, but I'm saying for the most part, if you're new into something, you're going to make mistakes. And certainly I feel that was one of the mistakes for Rule, not making sure that they were doing that on those Fridays. Hey, don't forget J.C. Horn is coming back, which is a very good point. I think that's about it. So we're at 40 minutes. It's pretty late, 9:29 Eastern Time. Tomorrow, if you have not heard, the fabulous, great, highly anticipated interview with Mick Mixon, 17-year-old voice of the Carolina Panthers Network, will be joining me here at 7 o'clock, and we will have a lot of fun. I invite you all to join us. Lauren, I will let you take us out of here however you want. If you want to go over a comment, whatever you want to do or say, floor is yours.
Let me check. Let me see if there's any other comments. You have Mick on the whole time tomorrow, right?
I didn't hear you.
You have him on the whole time tomorrow?
He is just scheduled for about 20 minutes, but I'm hoping that I can have him on a lot longer.
Yeah. Well, I will be gone this week. Austin and I are going to the Bahamas.
Hey,
So I was like, thinking of all the places. I almost said Jamaica, and I'm like, not Jamaica, the Bahamas.
okay.
Lauren Chair is the real MVP. Oh, my chair? It's not mine. It's Austin's, but this is his office chair. So I'm stealing it while he's not here right now. But I know I feel pretty like
Official.
official. If only
All
I
right,
was dressed up real professional and wasn't just in like a hoodie, you know. But no, I don't think I see any other comments aside from just kind of like comments going, replying back to the things that we were saying and banter in between people. But
We'll close us out.
let's close this out. It was a hard season to get through, and all of us are frustrated and upset, and definitely didn't want to close the season out with today's result, but there is hope. And I feel like if we strengthen this offensive line, guys, this year and figure out our quarterback situation, we will have it all figured out. Okay, maybe not at all, but a lot of things will be a lot better next year. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But hang in there. Hopefully this offseason we'll have a lot of good news, a lot of things that are going to be exciting, you know, new people coming in. Fingers crossed that they're all offensive linemen. Well, maybe not all. And just that, yeah, I'm just be hopeful, because that's all we can really do right now is be hopeful, continue to support the Panthers, continue to ride for them, regardless of the outcome of this awful season that we just had. But thank you guys so much for welcoming me this season. I feel like I'm a part of the official Carolina Panthers fans, like family, if that's a thing. And I've had so much fun. And I'm going to miss you guys, but I'm going to still be here. I'll still see you guys. It just won't be as often as during the season will be. But in the meantime, I hope you guys all have an amazing winter, spring. I mean, I'll talk to you in between then, but stay hopeful, stay positive, keep pounding, and go Panthers. See ya.
Good night.